Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Katt.
I'm surprised they invited me. That's how little star power you have. They had to start inviting your enemies. I said I hate him. They said come anyway.
In real time, this is live television to put our fucking beef behind us. Katt, I want to move on. Can we move on, man? Can we move on?
Sunday night, Netflix wrapped up his week-long Netflix is a Joke festival with the roast of Kevin Hart streaming live. The whole event was built around Hart's closest friends and longtime collaborators getting on stage to clown him with non-stop jokes and wild stories. The lineup was packed too, with Chelsea Handler, Jeff Ross, Tiffany Haddish, Cheryl Underwood, Regina Hall, Pete Davidson, The Rock, and several others all ready to take shots at Hart and keep the crowd laughing. But the biggest shock of the night when Katt Williams suddenly showed up at the roast, opening up another chapter in this long-running drama with Kevin Hart. Anyone who has followed their history already knows these two comedians have been throwing public jabs at each other for more than a decade, with both speaking on the feud during interviews and appearances over the years. Katt has repeatedly claimed that Hart was a Hollywood puppet and an industry plant, and those comments have kept people talking for years. Fans still remember the viral moment when Katt even challenged Hart to a boxing match, turning their comedy rivalry into something that looked way more personal. To set up the biggest surprise of the night, actress Regina Hall introduced Katt Williams during her part of the roast, and the second he walked onto the stage, the crowd completely lost it. People jumped to their feet in total shock as loud cheers filled the room, making it clear nobody expected to see him there. And from the way Katt went at Kevin Hart with his jokes, it looked like he finally got the chance to say everything he had been holding back for years. At one point, Katt joked, "I want an Emmy, but this'll be my best acting tonight as I pretend you're a goat." The crowd instantly reacted as the tension mixed with the comedy. Katt kept the energy going with more sharp jokes, saying, "People are..."
My frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy.
Yeah.
You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You f***ed off promo shoots. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped fucking with you.
Probably wondering why is Katt doing this? For the money. He also joked, "This is my React Comedy Festival, the only one with a soul." The audience could tell he was mixing comedy with real feelings from their long history. Then Katt directly brought up the feud between him and Kevin, saying, "For those of you just joining us, Kevin and I have beef, and I'll tell you why." He followed it with more exaggerated roast-style jokes about Hart, allegedly borrowing parts of his style and career moves over the years. Katt also admitted, "Yes, I said some things I'd like to take back. Some things were misunderstood," adding another layer to the back-and-forth history between the two comedians. Katt continued his set by bringing up one of his past comments about Kevin Hart being a Hollywood puppet, but he flipped it into a roast joke for the crowd. He said, "I did say Kevin was a Hollywood puppet, and I want to explain that because it might not be what you think. I meant that the head of Netflix literally has his whole hand up Kevin's ass and can make him do anything." The audience reacted hard as Katt leaned deeper into the comedy and shock factor humor. He also joked about Hart attending celebrity parties, saying, "Just because Kevin went to Diddy parties doesn't mean he did something wrong." Then he added, "The fact that he gets all quiet when you bring it up, that means he did something wrong." The crowd exploded at the line, with people clearly surprised Katt went that far during the roast. After Katt wrapped up his set, Kevin Hart tried to end the moment on a more positive note by asking if they could finally move past their issues going forward. While it was tough to tell how serious Katt really was, he still agreed to hug Hart and shake his hand before leaving the stage, giving the crowd one final unexpected moment from the night. What also caught people's attention was how Katt handled the roast itself. Some viewers felt like he mostly stuck to the jokes prepared for the event, instead of fully adding his usual wild freestyle energy and personal touch. Others noticed he seemed a little hesitant during the handshake with Hart, which quickly sparked online questions about whether their long-time beef is actually over or if there's still tension behind the scenes. While Katt Williams showing up at Kevin Hart's roast shocked a lot of people, there were already small hints that something big was coming. Just last month, comedian Chris Spencer appeared on The Breakfast Club and teased that viewers should expect a few surprises during the event.
This man has been at odds for years on years. You coming out here, quite the fucking surprise. But we have an opportunity in real time. This is live television to put our beef behind us. Be a brother. I want to be a friend. Katt, I want to move on. Can we move on, man? Can we move on? Katt Williams, one time, ladies and gentlemen. Katt Williams.
During the interview, Spencer was asked about the roast lineup, and co-host Charlamagne the God even joked that some comedians who had publicly criticized Hart should be invited to roast him too. Another thing people noticed was how several of Hart's close friends, including Tiffany Haddish, Dwayne Martin, and the Plastic Cup Boys, were on stage during parts of the night, but they didn't actually tell jokes or become targets themselves. That stood out to viewers, since most roast events usually have everybody involved in the chaos and comedy. Toward the end of the night, Kevin Hart finally got his chance to clap back at everyone who roasted him, including Katt Williams. Hart joked that making peace with Katt may have been the best acting of his career, before throwing more roast-style jokes his way. He teased Katt over some of his past public controversies and legal troubles, while also joking about Katt's claim that Hart took movies he passed on. The crowd reacted loudly as Kevin turned the tables and fired back with his own rapid jokes to close out the night. As clips from the roast started spreading online, social media instantly turned into a battlefield over the Katt Williams and Kevin Hart moment. Some fans believed the tension was finally fading, while others were convinced the handshake and hug felt forced from the very beginning. People kept replaying Katt's facial expressions and Kevin's reactions, trying to figure out if the two comedians were genuinely cool now or just putting on a show for Netflix cameras. A lot of viewers also pointed out how different Katt's energy seemed compared to his usual interview appearances and stand-up sets. Normally, Katt comes in loud, unpredictable, and completely unfiltered. But during the roast, some fans felt like he held back just enough to avoid turning the night into a full-blown argument. Even then, several of his jokes still landed like direct shots at Hart's career and industry connections.
Meanwhile, Kevin Hart looked determined to keep the event moving smoothly no matter what happened on stage. Even when the jokes got personal, Hart kept laughing, smiling, and firing back with his own punchlines, almost like he wanted to prove he could handle every attack thrown his way. That balance between real tension and comedy is exactly what kept people talking long after the roast ended. By the next morning, clips of Katt's appearance were already pulling in millions of views across social media platforms. Some people called it the highlight of the entire roast, while others said the unexpected reunion completely stole attention away from every other comedian who performed that night. One thing everybody agreed on was simple. Nobody expected Katt Williams to walk onto that stage and shake up the whole event the way he did. The reaction from fans only kept getting louder as more behind-the-scenes clips and audience angles started popping up online. People began analyzing every second of Katt Williams' appearance, especially the moment Kevin Hart reached out for the handshake at the end of the set. Some viewers felt Katt looked cautious and guarded, while others believed he was simply staying in character for the roast atmosphere. At the same time, several fans defended Katt and said his jokes were actually lighter than what many expected after years of public tension between the two comedians. Considering how much both men have spoken about each other in past interviews and podcasts, some people thought the roast could have turned way more uncomfortable. Instead, Katt mixed sharp humor with controlled delivery, keeping the focus on comedy instead of letting things fully spiral into personal attacks. Kevin Hart also earned praise from viewers who felt he handled the pressure of the night like a pro. Roast events can easily go off the rails when real-life drama gets involved, but Hart kept the energy upbeat and continued joking with everyone on stage, even after some brutal punchlines were thrown his way. That helped the event feel chaotic in a fun way instead of becoming genuinely hostile. Meanwhile, entertainment blogs and podcast hosts quickly jumped into the conversation, debating whether Netflix purposely kept Katt's appearance secret to create a viral moment. Many fans believe the surprise reveal was planned perfectly because the second Katt walked out, the entire atmosphere inside the venue changed instantly. The crowd reaction alone became one of the biggest talking points from the whole festival, and it kept clips from the roast trending all across social media for days. As the conversation kept building online, a lot of fans started revisiting the long history between Katt Williams and Kevin Hart to understand why the roast moment felt so massive in the first place. their issues did not start overnight, and over the years, both comedians have traded public comments that kept the rivalry alive in interviews, podcasts, and stand-up appearances. One of the biggest reasons people stayed locked into the drama was because Katt repeatedly questioned how fast Hart rose to the top of Hollywood. Katt often suggested that the entertainment industry pushed Hart into major movie roles, huge sponsorships, and non-stop media attention at a pace that few comedians ever experience. Those comments sparked endless debates online, with some fans agreeing with Katt, while others argued Hart simply worked harder and stayed more consistent than most comedians in the game.
Very humble of me to be at your goat roast tonight, Kevin. I've won an Emmy Award, but this is gonna be my best acting tonight as I pretend like you are a goat. For the people at home, you're wondering, why is the Katt Man doing this? For the money, bitch. This is my Riyadh Comedy Festival. Only one with a soul.
Kevin Hart, on the other hand, usually brushed off the criticism publicly and focused on his success, sold-out tours, blockbuster films, and business deals. But every now and then, Hart would throw subtle jokes or comments back at Katt, which kept the tension alive without turning it into a non-stop public war. That back-and-forth dynamic is exactly why Katt's surprise appearance at the roast hit differently for longtime fans watching everything unfold. What made the whole situation even more interesting was how divided the audience became after the event. Some people saw the handshake and hug as a genuine sign of growth between two comedians who had been clashing for years. Others believe the rivalry is still real behind closed doors, and that the roast simply gave both men a chance to turn old tension into viral entertainment for one night only. After the roast wrapped up, people also started paying attention to how other comedians reacted to the Katt Williams moment behind the scenes. Several guests on stage looked stunned when Katt first appeared, and clips of their reactions quickly spread across social media. Some comedians were laughing hard, while others looked genuinely unsure about how far the jokes were about to go once Katt grabbed the microphone. Fans especially noticed how quiet the room became during certain parts of Katt's set. Roast events are usually non-stop laughter and chaos, but there were moments where the audience seemed caught between laughing and wondering if the tension was becoming a little too real. That awkward energy honestly made the whole segment even more entertaining for viewers watching at home. At the same time, many fans gave Netflix credit for pulling off one of the biggest surprise appearances of the entire festival season. In an era where leaks usually ruin every major moment online, almost nobody expected Katt Williams to walk onto that stage beside Kevin Hart. The surprise factor helped turn the roast into a trending topic far beyond the comedy world, with even casual viewers jumping into the conversation. The event also reminded people how powerful comedy rivalries can become when real history is attached to them. A regular roast already brings wild jokes and personal stories, but adding years of public tension between two major comedians gave this moment a completely different level of attention. Whether the beef is truly over or not, Katt Williams and Kevin Hart managed to create one of the most talked about moments from the entire Netflix festival, and fans are still debating every second of it online. As more interviews and reactions started dropping after the roast, fans kept wondering if Katt Williams and Kevin Hart would eventually speak about the moment in a more serious setting. A lot of people believe the roast only scratched the surface of what both comedians really think about each other after years of tension, public comments, and industry rumors floating around online. Some viewers even pointed out that Katt's appearance may have been bigger than the actual jokes themselves. Just seeing the two men share a stage again after so much history felt surreal to longtime comedy fans. For years, many people thought there was no chance Katt would ever willingly appear at an event centered around celebrating Kevin Hart, which made the surprise hit even harder once it finally happened.
You do it for real, here it is, Kevin. I got a show at your hometown in Philly. I'm gonna take my special there. On that stage, we can put whatever you want. A full-court basketball court, a boxing ring, 2 microphones for a rap cipher, or you can get your ass dusted in comedy on that stage. but it's $1 million up for each one. That's $5 million, Mr. 28 million in Forbes.
Meanwhile, clips from the roast kept dominating social media feeds, especially Katt's sharp one-liners and Kevin's quick responses. Meme pages, podcast channels, and reaction accounts jumped all over the moment, turning certain jokes into viral sound bites almost overnight. The internet basically treated the roast like a major boxing match, with fans debating who landed the stronger punches throughout the night. At the center of everything was the fact that both comedians understand how to control attention and keep people talking. Katt Williams has built a reputation for unpredictable interviews and fearless commentary, while Kevin Hart has mastered mainstream success and massive audience appeal. Bringing those two personalities together on one stage created the exact type of chaos, tension, and comedy that people could not stop watching. By the end of the week, the roast had turned into way more than just another comedy special on Netflix. What started as a night of jokes about Kevin Hart slowly became one of the most talked about celebrity moments of the year, mainly because of Katt Williams' unexpected appearance and the history attached to it all. Entertainment outlets kept breaking down every detail from the night, from the crowd reactions to the body language between both comedians. Some analysts felt the roast showed signs that the tension between them had finally cooled off, while others argued the jokes still carried too much edge for the rivalry to be completely finished. That mystery only made people more interested in replaying clips and searching for hidden meaning in every interaction. At the same time, many comedy fans praised the event for bringing back the unpredictable energy that classic celebrity roasts used to have. In recent years, some roast specials have felt overly safe or scripted, but this one had moments where viewers genuinely did not know what might happen next. Katt's arrival completely changed the atmosphere, and the mix of awkward tension, real history, and aggressive humor gave the night a raw feeling that audiences rarely get anymore. Even now, people are still debating whether the roast was the beginning of peace between Katt Williams and Kevin Hart or just another chapter in their long-running feud. But one thing is clear, the moment Katt stepped on that stage instantly became the centerpiece of the entire Netflix festival, and fans will probably be talking about it for a long time to come. What also made the situation so interesting was how differently fans reacted depending on which comedian they supported going into the roast. Kevin Hart's supporters felt he handled the pressure well and showed he could laugh at himself even while being targeted with personal jokes in front of a massive audience. They argued inviting someone like Katt Williams onto the stage took confidence, especially knowing the history between them.
I'll be bringing mine in cash. Mitch, bring yours however you want. And since you're not a puppet, don't bring no white people with you then. That's a $5 million bet. Individually, you can take it all or you can take it part and parcel. This is the new movement. Hey, and tell them plastic cup boys, we make enough money to drink out of real glassware.
On the other side, many Katt Williams fans believed his appearance proved he still has the power to completely steal attention the second he enters a room. Even with a shorter set compared to others during the night, Katt became one of the main topics across social media almost instantly. His delivery, facial expressions, and unpredictable energy kept viewers locked in because people never knew what line he might drop next. Some viewers also noticed that the roast seemed to introduce a different side of their rivalry compared to previous years. In older interviews and public comments, the tension often sounded harsher and more personal. But during the Netflix event, both comedians mixed real history with entertainment, almost turning years of public drama into part of the show itself. That balance made the entire moment feel strange, funny, and uncomfortable all at once. Meanwhile, fans are already wondering if this could lead to more interactions between the two comedians in the future. Some people think podcasts, interviews, or even another live event could happen if both sides continue keeping things respectful in public. Others still believe the tension runs too deep behind the scenes and that the roast was simply a one-night truce for entertainment purposes. As the viral clips kept circulating, some comedy fans started comparing this roast moment to other famous celebrity feuds that eventually turned into public reunions. That is part of why the Katt Williams appearance felt so huge. People were not just watching jokes, they were watching years of tension collide on one stage in real time. Every stare, pause, and reaction from the crowd became something viewers wanted to analyze afterward. Another reason the moment connected with so many people was because both comedians represent completely different paths in comedy and entertainment.
Kevin Hart built himself into a massive mainstream star with blockbuster movies, business deals, and worldwide tours, while Katt Williams earned his reputation through raw stand-up performances, sharp interviews, and a more unpredictable public image. Seeing those two worlds meet again created a level of curiosity that pulled in even people who normally do not watch comedy roasts. At the same time, fans online kept debating who actually won the night when it came to the jokes and crowd reactions. Some believed Katt had the strongest moments because of the surprise factor and the years of build-up behind his appearance. Others felt Kevin Hart came out on top because he stayed calm, laughed through the attacks, and controlled the overall energy of the event from beginning to end.
Everybody has said tonight that I can't act. Kevin cannot act. What I want you to do is go back and look at that moment where I shook Katt's hand, and I looked him in the eye, and I said, I just want us to be friends. Some of the best fucking acting that I've ever did in my career. I did not mean one word of what I said.
No matter which side people picked, one thing became obvious after the roast ended. The Katt Williams and Kevin Hart storyline still has people completely locked in. Even days later, reaction videos, podcasts, and social media discussions were still gaining huge numbers, proving that the tension, comedy, and unpredictability surrounding both men continues to grab attention everywhere online.
By this point, the roast had completely taken on a life of its own online, with fans continuing to replay clips and break down every little interaction between Katt Williams and Kevin Hart. Some people even started comparing the moment to a live reality show because of how unpredictable the energy felt once Katt stepped onto the stage. The tension mixed with comedy created the kind of viral moments social media loves to obsess over for days. A lot of viewers also noticed how carefully both comedians seemed to balance humor with restraint throughout the night. Katt delivered several sharp lines that clearly referenced years of frustration and public criticism, but he stopped short of turning the event into a full personal attack. Kevin Hart did something similar by firing jokes back while still trying to keep the overall mood entertaining instead of hostile. That balance helped the roast stay chaotic without completely falling apart. Meanwhile, podcasts and entertainment channels kept pulling apart individual moments from the show, especially Katt's comments about Hollywood and Kevin's responses during the closing segment. Some fans argued the jokes revealed lingering resentment beneath the surface, while others felt both comedians were simply leaning into the drama because they knew the audience wanted big reactions. Either way, the strategy worked because the roast stayed trending long after the event ended. At the center of it all was the fact that comedy fans rarely get moments like this anymore. In a time when most celebrity appearances are heavily controlled and predictable, seeing two longtime rivals stand face-to-face on a live Netflix event felt raw and unexpected. Whether it was genuine reconciliation or just smart entertainment, Katt Williams and Kevin Hart managed to create a moment people will probably keep talking about for a very long time. As more people continued revisiting the roast, some fans started focusing less on the jokes themselves and more on what the moment represented for both comedians. For years, Katt Williams and Kevin Hart have been viewed as two completely different figures in comedy, with different audiences, different styles, and very different relationships with Hollywood. Seeing them finally share the same stage again felt almost unreal to people who had followed the drama from the beginning. There was also growing discussion about how much the surprise appearance benefited the entire Netflix event. Before Katt walked out, the roast was already packed with celebrity guests and big names, but his arrival instantly shifted the energy to another level. Social media exploded within minutes, and suddenly clips from the event were everywhere, from podcasts and reaction channels to entertainment blogs and trending pages. At the same time, some viewers believed the roast showed a level of mutual respect hiding underneath all the public tension over the years. Even while throwing sharp jokes back and forth, both comedians avoided completely crossing the line into outright hostility. That stood out to fans because their history easily could have turned the event uncomfortable in a much different way. Instead, the night stayed focused on entertainment, even with all the awkward tension hanging in the air. Now, people are waiting to see whether this moment leads to anything bigger in the future. Some fans think this could open the door for future collaborations, interviews, or even another live appearance together somewhere down the line. Others believe both comedians simply understood the power of the moment and used it to create unforgettable entertainment for one night only. Either way, the roast gave audiences exactly what they wanted: surprise, tension, huge reactions, and non-stop conversation online. Kevin Hart kept the jokes rolling all the way to the end of the roast, even throwing out the line, "You think they want a pimp in Jumanji," which instantly got another huge reaction from the crowd. But after all the roasting, tension, and wild moments throughout the night, Hart decided to close things out on a more serious note and shift the focus back onto his relationship with Katt Williams. Near the end of the event, Kevin told the audience, "The beef is over. Me and Katt are friends from today moving forward." That statement immediately got people talking online because after years of public shots, interviews, and non-stop rumors about their feud, many fans never expected to hear Hart say something like that on such a massive stage. Still, plenty of viewers are questioning whether the peace between them is truly real, or if this was simply part of the entertainment surrounding the Netflix roast. Some people believe Katt went way easier on Kevin than expected, especially considering everything that has happened between them over the years. Others think the tension was still obvious underneath the jokes and body language throughout the night. Now we want to hear from you. What did you think about Katt Williams showing up to roast Kevin Hart on Netflix? Do you think Katt held back during his set? And do you believe the beef between Kevin Hart and Katt Williams is officially over? Or is there still more drama behind the scenes waiting to happen? Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, and comment below with your thoughts.